Kelly Marie Alvarez here from Fawn with a video for Simon Says Stamp. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new stamp set, Purrfect Birthday. Purrfect Birthday is a part of Simon Says Stamp's exclusive STAMPtember event and is only available for a limited time. Purrfect Birthday also has coordinating dies and coloring stencils, so let's go ahead and check it out. This stamp set has super cute cats dressed up and ready for the most perfect birthday party. So we have these cute little cats with party hats. One has that adorable little fish with a present. This other one has a party horn, which is so adorable. And we also have some super cute piles of presents that have yarn and catnip. And we also have this adorable cake with a little fish around it, which just makes me smile. We also have another little pile of presents, and I love that it has that little mouse toy. We have a little cluster of confetti and then some fun music notes that are really awesome for stamping around the birthday cake as if they're singing happy birthday. This set also has two super cute speech bubbles in two different styles and some fun little phrases that you can stamp in them. And these little phrases are just adorable with really fun puns. And so our first one here is have a possum day, which is just adorable. And we have it's your birthday, I'm not kitten, hope it's perfect, you're meowvelous, and happy birthday to Mew. And I love that this is curved almost as if they're singing it like the words are floating up into the air. Then we have this really fun mix and match sentiment. So you can say wishing you a happy, and then we have birthday or just birthday. So I love that you can mix and match it depending on if you're in a mood for puns or not. And of course we have an exclamation point that you can add to the ends of all of the phrases. Now it's time to add some color to these adorable images. We're going to be using some Copic markers here, but any alcohol-based markers would work great. Colored pencils, watercolor, anything that you love. The other really great way to add color to these images is with coloring stencils, and we're going to be showing you those in just a little bit. Now, when I color in different cats, I like to think of cats in my life or maybe my friends' cats, and sometimes I just look up pictures of cats on Google Images and take a look at their fun markings. Cats are so much fun to color because they are in so many different colors and they have so many cool stripes and spots that you can add onto the characters. Now here we're also adding some color to the party hats and the little bow around the fish, and those party hats are a really fun place to bring in either the recipient's favorite colors or maybe you might match them to the pattern paper you're using, so there's so many fun ways to do that. Here you can see we're adding our darker marker and then blending it out with medium and then to light, and we're kind of keeping the darkest markers out to the edges and then lightest in towards the centers. You can always take your darker marker and add little stripes like we're doing here to give it the look of a striped cat, which is just adorable. And then we're going to add some rosy cheeks to those cats, and then we're going to fill in these fun little party hat stripes here with some colors. And you'll see that we're using similar colors on all of the different cats' accessories and on the presents so that everything will coordinate really nicely on our card. So next we're going to start working on the next cat, and this one is going to be a cat with spots on it. And we're using the same exact yellowy orange colors that we used on that middle cat to create the spots on the cat. And this is going to give a look of a calico cat. And I had a calico cat named Pumpkin growing up, so I always love adding these kind of markings to the cats. And so now we're going to take the grays from the first cat and we're going to use that for the gray markers. So once you have your markers out, you can use the same ones but get different looks on each cat depending on if you do stripes, spots, or fill the whole cat in. And so there we're going to go ahead and just add a little bit of color to the tail and give some rosy cheeks, and then we can start bringing in some of those same markers that we've used on the party hats and accessories, and we're going to add those onto this cat here. And I love that party horn, it just makes me smile. And so we'll add some color in to the little polka dots on the hat, around the hat, and into the little pom-pom. And then just like we talked about earlier, we're going to add some color to these presents. And again, we're going to be using those same markers that we already used on the accessories for the cats. And I think these colors are so much fun on these presents. And these little pile of presents are great for layering in the background, or you could create a clean and simple card where you just had one cat and then the little pile of presents or the cake. I think that would be adorable. And I love having these items to be able to fill in the background and really create my cute cat scenes. I love the bright pink on the cake, and then for the little fish, of course, we're going to do some orange on those adorable little fish. And then we're going to use some of that orange again on the present so that it's going to coordinate nicely with the cake. And so I think that's adorable. So in the box of catnip there, we're going to add some of the oranges, bring in that turquoise again that we've used on some other items, and these are just adorable. And then for those speech bubbles, we're going to take a light turquoise or a light blue marker, works great, and just add a little bit of color to the inside of that black line. It makes those speech bubbles pop and really feel special. So now that we've colored with markers, we're going to take a look at the coloring stencils. And this stamp set has a set of 3 coloring stencils, and you can see that they've been labeled there so that it makes it really easy to know that you have all 3. They're also sized to the same size as the stamp set, which makes them really easy to store. You can see that we have created etched guidelines onto these coloring stencils so that you can easily line them up with your stamped images and then brush on ink. Here I'm going to use some manatee ink to create a gray cat, and I'm just going to use a small blending brush and pick up some of that ink, and I'm going to make sure that the ink is a little bit darker on one side than the other to give it a really nice shaded look, and I can give a really nice shaded look with just one ink pad, which I think is really, really awesome. Our coloring stencils are also designed so that you don't need to clean the stencils in between your different steps. Everything is separate enough so that you don't have to clean in between, which is really great. So I can just move down my stencil and add some color to the nose and then the top of the hat, and then shift down my stencil again. And this time I'm going to add that pink to the little bow on the fish. And then I'm now going to add a little bit of turquoise into the party hat. And then I can work on the fish and add a little bit of orange. This is so quick and easy, and it looks so beautiful. Isn't that so pretty? I love using coloring stencils so much, and all of the images in the set have an awesome coloring stencil that goes along with them. Now here are the coordinating dies for the set. You can take these dies and line them up with your stamped images, then hold it in place with some low-tack tape, run it through your die cut machine, and you'll have perfectly cut out images every time. And then here are all of the images from the set, and I love that you can mix and match these to create super cute birthday scenes. So we can layer the cute cats with the cake or with the pile of presents, and that would look adorable on a card with the cat kind of hiding behind the presents like that. I think it's adorable. And so you could use one cat with a pile of presents, or you can layer the different cats together and put a bunch of cats onto a card. There are so many different ways to use these images. I love overlapping the cats so that it looks like they're all huddled together and singing a happy birthday to the recipient. I mean, look at that. It is just so cute and fun. Now, I thought it'd be really awesome to make an interactive card. So we are using the Knock Knock Who's There interactive card here. And we are first starting off by creating a panel that's going to be 4 inches by 8 inches. And I'm using some Bitsy Blooms paper here. This is one of my favorite papers of all time. It's so pretty. And then we're going to take this and we are going to score at 4 inches so that we are going to create what almost looks like a 4-inch card, but it's actually going to be our interactive mechanism. So we're just going to score in the middle here, and we're going to make sure that we have that score line there right in the center, and it's going to be a side fold. Then we're going to take this piece and we're going to lay it flat, and we're going to take out our Knock Knock Who's There interactive die. And the Knock Knock Who's There die is there, and it also has a rectangle door add-on. And for this card, we're going to use that rectangle door. Now you'll see this die has these little arrows. The top arrow is going to line up with that score line you created in the middle, and the bottom arrow is going to line up with the bottom of this panel. And so I'm just going to line those up. The arrows make it so easy, and we're going to hold it in place with some low-tack tape. And here you can see how that top arrow is on the score line and the bottom arrow lines up with the bottom of this panel. And then we're going to take this whole piece and run it through the die cut machine flat just like this, and that's going to create the beginning of this really cool door interactive mechanism. The next step that we need to do is we need to get the track creator piece from the Knock Knock Who's There. And you'll see this piece has some markings on it that's going to help us know how to use it. And so you'll see here that it's got a little arrow there. That arrow is going to point towards your door. And then that little piece of metal that pokes down, that is going to line up with the bottom of this panel. And we're going to line that right up with that score line in the middle of this piece. So the arrow's pointing towards the door, the bottom part's lined up there with the bottom of the panel. We can run that through the die cut machine nice and flat and open just like this. And now we have a track that's in exact right placement. And if you've never made an interactive Knock Knock Who's There card before, make sure to check out our intro video. We'll link it in the description below. So now we're going to look at the inside of this panel. So we've flipped it over and we're going to be cutting this pull tab piece, this T-shaped piece. And so we're going to die cut that from some white cardstock. And you'll see that this piece, this die, creates a little fold line for you. And we're going to be folding along that little score line. And we're going to fold back along that score line to create kind of like a little tab. Then we'll flatten that part back out, and then we're going to look at the top part of the T, and we're going to feed that into the track that we created earlier. So the top part of the T is going to go into the top part of the track, and then the bottom part will feed into the other part. And you'll see now that this T-shaped piece is going to be able to glide along that track that we created. Now we're going to line up the T-shaped piece so it's then even in between those two track lines, and we're going to be adding some nice strong 1/4 inch double-sided tape to the left side of that score line that we folded along. And so you'll see we're just going to add those 2 pieces of tape right there. You might want some nice strong tape for this. And then we can go ahead and peel up the liner paper on both of those pieces. And then we can make sure that it's centered between those 2 track lines, and then we can close our door. And as we close the door, it's going to pick up the adhesive on this T-shaped piece here. And that's going to start to create our really cool mechanism. We're going to press down firmly, and now you can open and close the door, and you'll see that piece moving. Next, we're going to take some foam strips here, and we're going to be adding some foam strips about 1/2 inch or so above that door. We'll add one towards the top, and then we'll split the difference in between the two. And then we'll add one more foam strip here along that outside edge, and we can just trim off any of the excess. And that's all the foam that you want on there, because you want to make sure that you have enough space for that tab to move back and forth. Then we can go ahead and peel up the liner paper on all of those foam adhesive strips, and then we can close this whole panel down. And this is going to start to form our knock knock who's there mechanism. These cards are so much fun to make. They just turn out so cute. And now as you open and close that door, you can see that we have the movement of that tab. Now, right now, I wanted to add a little bit of decoration to that tab, so I'm going to use that same pattern paper here, and I'm going to trim a piece to cover this, which is going to be 1/2 inch by 2 inches. And so that's going to make it look much more seamless. Also, when you add that pattern paper to this piece, it makes that tab even stronger, which is really great so that it continues to move really well as your recipient plays with it. So we're going to add some tape runner to that little piece that we trimmed to be 1/2 inch by 2 inches, and we can just layer that right over top of that pull tab piece, and now it blends much more into our design. Now here's some more of that Bitsy Blooms paper, and we're going to be taking some of this like green plaid paper, and we're going to be trimming that down here to be a little ground. So I'm making that to be about 1/2 inch tall, and then we're going to cut it to 4 inches wide, because that's the width here of our card. Now the door here, we're going to use our ruler to measure, is about 1 1/4, and then we're going to be able to just trim this piece down right in the middle there. And so once we trim that down, we'll have one piece that's going to go over our door and that can move, and then we'll have one piece that's on the rest of the panel. And so we'll add some adhesive to the longer piece and layer that onto the right side of this panel. And then we're going to take the shorter one and layer that over the door. And by just trimming that down, it's going to be the perfect length, and they're going to match up. So the plaids are going to match up when it's closed, but we'll be able to open and close that super cute little door. Next, we're going to take out the Purrfect birthday stamp set, and we're going to take those images that we stamped and colored and die cut earlier and start to layer them onto the super cute interactive mechanism. So we have that cat that's facing forward with the party hat and the cake and pile of presents. I'm going to add some tape runner onto the pile of presents and the cake and layer them onto the grass. And then I'm going to take some foam squares onto our adorable little cat, and I'm going to layer her in between them, almost like she's kind of brought a cake and presents here to the party, which is so fun. I like to tell a little story as I make my cards. Now next up, we need to use the sentiment here, and we're going to be using the happy birthday sentiment, and we're going to take out one of these fancy folded banners. This die is an oldie but a goodie, and it's one of my favorites. And so we're going to die cut that from some white cardstock, and then we're going to be stamping the sentiment on there. And this is one of the things I love about clear stamps, is that you can curve them. So we're going to line up the happy and birthday together, and they're on the same size rectangular block, so it makes it really easy to line them up. And then we're going to curve them just a little bit so that they match the curve of this fancy folded banner. And so you'll see I'm just kind of curving it onto the block, sticking it down. I'm going to make sure that it looks nice and it looks perfect. And we're going to stamp that in some bubblegum ink, which is a really nice bright pink, onto that fancy folded banner. Now the die creates these little score lines for you. On the inside score line, you're going to fold back. And on the outside score line, you're going to fold towards yourself. And we'll repeat the same thing. So fold back and then you're going to fold towards yourself, and it creates the cutest banner. Like, isn't that so fun? I just love it. It just feels so special on the card. Now, something I've been doing lately is taking a very light marker that matches the color of ink that I stamped in and just adding a little bit of an edge to my die cut banners. And so here I'm using like an R000 or something, a very light pink marker, and just going around the edges, and it just gives it a little bit of like an aged look, and I think it just looks really, really pretty. Then we just need to add some foam squares to the inner part of the banner, and then onto the flagged ends we're just going to be adding some tape runner because those get kind of attached on, and then the rest has that really beautiful pop on it. And then we can just layer that into the sky of our scene here, which is looking so super cute. Next, we need to work on what's going to be inside that door when we open it. And so the first thing that I need, other than a super cute cat here, is a ground. So I had another piece of that paper that we trimmed to be 1/2 inch high. And so I'm just going to add some tape runner to that, and I'm just going to tuck that inside of the door. I'm not going to worry about that score line just yet. I'm just going to tuck that right inside. We'll just adhere it down. And then what I'm going to do is close the door really slowly so that the door makes the fold line on that piece. And that way it's going to line up exactly where it needs to. So you see I'm moving really, really slow, pressing down, and that's going to fold that green grass piece on the inside so that now the grass extends from the outside to the inside part of the store, which I think looks super cute. Now here I have those fun speech bubbles from the set, and I'm picking out some of those tiny phrases to stamp in it, and we're going to stamp that in some bubblegum ink to match the sentiment that we did earlier. And so this one says, "It's your birthday," and then "Hope it's perfect." And what I like about the knock knock who's there is that the "It's your birthday" is going to be on the outside, and then the "Hope it's perfect's" on the inside, almost like it's finishing the phrase. So we're going to add some tape runner to the bottom of that speech bubble, and I'm just going to tuck a little bit of the corner of the speech bubble into the door. This is going to help it move nice and smooth and make sure that nothing catches. And you can open your door to close and check. Now here I'm layering my cat to see exactly where she's going to go onto that piece. And it looks like I need to put some tape runner essentially behind her head. So I always like to do this and kind of see exactly where I want my character to go. I'm going to add the tape runner just behind her head, and then we can layer her now onto that piece. And now our cat and our speech bubble are going to move as you open the door, which is just so super cute. And again, we can test it and see. And now you can see I'm just making sure that it fits inside. Once you kind of guide it through the first time, you'll see that it works perfectly, pun intended. And so next we have that "It's your birthday," and we're going to add some foam squares to that and give that a nice pop. And so I love that the cats are kind of talking to each other as they close and open the door. Now, next up, I want the recipient to know that there is a fun interactive die thing going on here. So the Knock Knock Who's There has these cute little like scallop circles and ovals, and then like a little door hanger, and it almost is like a little wreath on the door. So we're going to die cut the little tiny stitch circle out of some white cardstock, and also the little hanger out of some white cardstock too. And then for the phrase, I'm going to be using the stamp set Push Here. I love this set because it has all of the different phrases you need for interactive cards, like shake me, slide me, push here, etc. And so we're going to use the phrase that says "Open me," and we're going to stamp that again in some bubblegum ink. And so we're going to stamp that right in the middle of that little circle. Then for that door hanger, I wanted to add some color to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow marker so that it matches the yellow centers on the flower on the paper, and also some of the yellow details on the presents and candles there. Then we'll add a little bit of liquid glue to the ends of each of that little hanger, and then we can layer our sign on that. And so now it's going to look like it's a cute little door decoration or wreath. Then we can just add some tape runner to the back of this and then layer that on the door. And I think it looks so, so cute. And now the recipient's going to know that there is a fun surprise when they're going to open that door. Look at that. Ah, it's so fun. So the next thing we need to do is put this on a card base. And this is a 4" by 4" card. So we're going to create a 4" card base. I'm going to make it a top folding card base. Then we need to add some adhesive to the back of our interactive panel. And here you want to make sure you're adding tape runner around the mechanism but not on the mechanism so that it still moves freely. So I can put it around the top, and I can put it down on the sides, and I can also go on the other side right there because that's all away from the track. Here I'll give you kind of a close-up so you can see where I put the adhesive. And then we can layer that onto our card panel, and our interactive mechanism is still going to be able to move freely. And now this cute little interactive card is all done. It's perfect for someone's birthday. It's your birthday. Hope it's perfect. I mean, look at that. It's just so cute. And so it's just adorable. So much fun to create. I love creating cute little scenes with these adorable cats, and that little cake with the fish on it. I think it just makes the whole card. It is just so adorable and so much fun. And so now that we've created this fun little interactive mechanism, we're going to work on a card with a super cute scene, and we are recreating a card by Grace from the Lawn Fawn design team. So thank you so much, Grace. And we're going to be starting off by die cutting this stitched rounded rectangle, which is so pretty, out of some white cardstock. And we're going to do some stenciling with our brick stencil. And we're going to be creating an indoor scene. We had an outdoor scene on the other card. Now we're going to do a fun indoor scene. And we're going to do this by creating some texture for our wall with this brick stencil. And so we're going to be using some fresh lavender ink over this, which is such a pretty purple. And we're going to make sure that the inking is darker in the center and lighter towards the outside. You'll also see that we took a piece of Post-it tape and layered it over the bottom as a mask to make sure we only have our brick wall going onto the wall, and the bottom is going to be our ground. So you can see that that piece of Post-it note tape protected the bottom part of this rectangle so that we only have the brick stenciling at the top. And now we've sort of created a faux ground by just not stenciling in that area, which is so cool. Now here is our stamp set called Window Scene Winter, and it has this super cute couch in it, and this couch is perfect for a cat. And what we're going to do is we're going to create our own custom couch by stamping on some pattern paper. And so this is some favorite flannel fall paper, which is so pretty, and we are going to stamp on this in some jet black ink here. And then we're just going to take our scissors and we're going to trim all the way around the couch, but we're going to trim the legs off because we're going to be layering this onto a die cut. So here we have now our upholstered couch, and then we went ahead and stamped and die cut that same couch image and added a little bit of brown on to the legs of the couch. And we'll be able to layer this upholstered piece right on top, and it's still going to have that white border of the die cut, which is so cool. So we'll add some adhesive onto this piece here, and then we're going to layer that. And I think this is such a fun way to add color to this couch and give it just like a fun personality. I wish I had a couch that looked like that. It's so cute. And so here we're going to be taking out this really cute stamp set that's called Just Add Glitter, and it's got these cute little mice crafting, and they have a little table. And so we're going to use the table to help with this indoor scene. And then we went ahead and stamped and colored and die cut the images from the Purrfect birthday stamp set. But before we add all of those cute characters, we're going to do some stamping here. So we're lining up everything in our Misty tool so that we're going to stamp part of the phrase at the top and the rest of the phrase into that ground, the part that we left without any stenciling. And so we're going to ink that up in some black licorice ink and then stamp wishing you a happy birthday. And I think it's so cute that the sentiment is going to kind of frame our cute little scene that we're going to create. And now we can start layering in everything. So we're going to start with our furniture first, and we're going to add this cute little couch here and then the coffee table right in front. Isn't that adorable? What an inviting living room. I just love it. And of course, when a cat, I know my cat, whenever she saw a couch, she was on that couch. And so we're going to layer one of the cute little cats onto the couch. We're going to put the cake onto the table, which looks absolutely adorable. And then we're going to start filling in the rest of our characters to create the scene. So we've got another little cat here that's going to be down on the ground with some presents behind her, looking like she's bringing presents to the cat that's sitting on the couch that is blowing out the candles. And then we're going to layer some more of those little presents there onto the ground. And then our little party horn cat is going to go on this side, which is just, oh my gosh, look at this. It's just so cute. I love it so much. And then this living room needed one extra finishing touch, and that's this cute little pillow, this little throw pillow that's in that Window Scene Winter stamp set. So we went ahead and stamped and colored and die cut that, and we're going to layer that into the couch to kind of help fill in, and that it's just so cute. Now for a last little party effect, we're going to add the cute little confetti that comes in the stamp set. And what's cute about this confetti is you can stamp the trio around, but when you die cut it, it die cuts little individual pieces of confetti. And so here we're using the Lawn Fawn Pickup Pokey tool to add a little bit of liquid glue on to our piece and then pick up all of these tiny pieces with that pickup end and layer them on to the card. And look at that. Isn't that so cute with the confetti falling down? Now here's that favorite flannel fall paper that we use for the couch, and we're going to use another color here for the background, this really pretty blue that looks similar to some of the turquoise color elements that we added onto the cats. And so then we're going to add some tape runner behind this whole panel and layer this on here. And this is a standard size card that's 5.5 by 4.25, and look how cute it is. I love the mixture of the rounded rectangle and the square edges. It's so much fun. And next up, Shari is going to create a super cute card for you. So take it away, Shari.
I am creating a really simple birthday card today using that little cat in the center and the cake. Those are the only two images. I've already colored and cut them out with the coordinating dies. Here I have a sentiment banner cut from speckled eggshell cardstock, and I am going to stamp the sentiment that says Happy Birthday, and I'm adding that little exclamation point as well. I'm stamping this in peacock ink, so we have this nice pretty teal sentiment that's going to match the colors of my card. I am stamping this to the left of this banner. Then I'm bringing the die back in and lining it back up. You can feel exactly where it pops against the top and the bottom. And I'm trimming off the sides. So I just shortened up the banner and cut another fishtail. For the background, I'm using the Radiant Heart backdrop and a piece of paper from the Gleeful Gradients Petite paper pack. I'm using this one here that goes from pink to orange. This is going to create the most beautiful ombre background. So I've cut this from the Gleeful Gradients paper. I'm using my new Pick Up Pokey tool to poke out those little radiant rays that have not come out yet. And I'm going to layer this over a piece of mermaid cardstock that's cut to 4.25 by 5.5. And you're going to see that mermaid cardstock show through those rays around the heart. I also wanted to add some shimmer, so I have my gold metallic watercolor, and I'm just adding some gold metallic splatters all over this background. And I will just set this aside to dry before I put it on a card base. Now I want some little stars on my card, and I'm using the 3 sizes of stars from the Hearts and Stars skinny tag die, and I cut these from some of the holographic metallic cardstock. Now that my background's dry, I can add this to my card base. Then I will add my sentiment with some foam squares so it is popped up off that background right below the heart. And then my images are going to be popped up right inside the heart. So this heart kind of acts like a little focal point frame for the cute little cat and the cake with the fish all over it. Then I will take my glue tube and just add some little dots of glue sprinkled all around. This is where I am going to put my little stars as my embellishments. So I'm going to use my Pick Up Pokey tool again and use that pick up side, pick up these little stars and just drop them into place right on that little dot of glue. And of course, a little glitter on these images, so I'm adding my stickles to the flames of the candles, the details of the hat, and the fish on the cake. And then here is my finished birthday card. I just love how pretty this is with that beautiful background and that backdrop die, and it's just so simple with that cute little cat and the cake.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card is so cute. I love the cat with that backdrop die. It is so much fun. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this card here by Tammy is so cute. I love how she created the look of a fence using little panels of cardstock. And she used our Simply Celebrate cats there at the top and layered that fish cake on top of our Cake It Easy cakes. And I love how she mixed and matched these sets together. This card here by Shari is so much fun, and she created her own ball of twine by wrapping string around a die cut circle. I love this idea. This card here by Mindy is so much fun, and I love how she used our balloon background stencil to create the perfect background for these adorable cats. Here, Yanea's card is so much fun. I love the star as the focal point for her cute little scene, and I love the sequins she added too. Here is the card by Grace that inspired us to make ours today. I love her orange brick background so much. This card by Letitia is so much fun. I love that she used that fun confetti backdrop, and all the presents lined up for the cat are just too adorable. This card here by Shari is so much fun. It's a mini slimline size, and I love the cute little scene that she's created here. Here, Audrey used our giant happy birthday to you for a big, bold sentiment for her adorable scene, and I think it is just so much fun. This card here by Elena is just adorable, and I love how she used our 4-square backdrop to create little scenes for those adorable cats. This card here by Melissa is so sweet. I love how she also used that brick stencil and added that fun little brick wall for them to stand on. This card by Megan is so fun. I love all the purples and blues together and how she created cute little tiny different scenes. And then this card here by Elise is so much fun with that bold, scripty happy and those adorable cats with all of their speech bubbles. I just love it. And here Maureen's card is just adorable. I love those little cats in the background taking a look at this fun birthday party. So we cannot wait to see all of your perfect birthday cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!
I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.